rescue op. Save the dinosaurs from an island that's about to explode. What could go wrong?
Return to Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And in this episode we're discussing minute 25 Fallen Kingdom. Before we get to that, heading over to Jurassic-Pedia.com, very briefly, we've got the article up here for Wheatley's Basecamp that we get in this minute. Unfortunately, again, like many things in Fallen Kingdom, we just don't know a lot about this site. Whether it's original staging post for the cleanup before Jurassic World was built, whether it's just some holding pens for a veterinary centre when Jurassic World was in action, whether this is even a real runway or if it's just a dirt road that the plane lands on. we have absolutely no idea, and hence can't really do a detailed article on it.
No, we can't. We know that there was an airfield on the island. We know that there's one going all the way back to 93, because we know that Hammond planned to build a full small airfield on the island to fly in guests. Sorry. They originally weren't going to have the whole 6-hour ferry ride. Whether this was that airfield and it was just never fully realized, like you said, we really don't know. It's kind of there's kind of so little that we know about it that it's kind of just almost a forgettable about its existence.
Yeah, it's a shame. We do know a little bit more about the real life airfield itself, but I'll mention that in the minute to come. So head over to Jurassic-Pedia for that article and many more.
Oh yeah, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
Dave, how about we get into minute 25?
Sounds good.
Alright, it's minute 25. Fallen Kingdom opens with a shot of Lockwood's Jurassic Park model and ends with mercenaries jogging through Basecamp. As we open on minute 25, we get our last look at the Jurassic Park model as Lockwood tells Maisie that her mother would have saved animals. And as we transition to a plane flying over, there's the Nublar coastline. He repeats she would have saved them all. So here we are, 25 minutes, and we're finally on Nublar in a Jurassic movie. It's sort of weird, we're only now just getting onto the island, and we're only here for 15 minutes, so we need to soak this in.
I gotta say, I love how the island looks in this movie. I like it better than it even looked in Jurassic World. Like, you got those beautiful turquoise waters that they're flying over, and then the mist-shrouded mountains. It really kind of feels like it lives up to the name Cloud Island here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of ominous too, because we do start with the sunny beach and the jungle that goes to the coastline there, or the forest. Nice, welcoming, tropical paradise, and then as the plane sort of enters or crosses the island, we do get the clouds, the high peaks. Sort of everything starts getting a little bit darker, a bit more ominous. Those massive mountain ranges and the valleys that they fly up through, with the waterfalls, the shot of Mount Cebu as well. And it's sort of this. We had it in Jurassic Park with the arrival to the island. We had it in the Lost World with the barge heading to Sauna. Even Jurassic Park 3 with the Beechcraft flying over this same airfield area that we get in this movie. Just real plane, real location, looks just glorious. And then Dominion, we get snow-covered CG peaks and a green forest in a valley. It doesn't have the same awe, which really sucks, I find, for Dominion. But yeah, Claire looks out of her window as the plane flies through that lush valley. As I said, we've got waterfalls cascading down each side. And then we get one of my favourite shots in the film itself, with the plane flying over the ruined main gates, the monorail collapsed, and the cars lying in a crumpled mess covered in vines, and the jungle claiming it all back. Just on comparison to the same shot in Jurassic World, where we get the nice polished glass monorail going through the gates, here is just pretty much, we're about to enter the old park. It's what a lot of fans wanted for the Lost World, and now we're finally going to get it for the Jurassic World trilogy. And also, interesting here too, like the score sort of cuts back a little bit, and just the ambient noises, not just the plane flying overhead, but the jungle alive, the birds, the insects, showing full well that the island has survived without people here quite easily, and it will, or it would into the future if it wasn't for this volcano.
And I love this kind of omnipresent rumbling of the volcano. Like, no matter where you are on the island, you can hear it. You can hear it, like, even as the plane is flying past it.
Yeah, especially later on when we get the search for Blue and Owen walking up the stream and that, and just, it's always in the back of the sound mixing, just that rumble. We don't get it in the film, but in a novel, when we get there next minute, the Wheatley's volcanologist has said that the eruption's pretty much imminent. The tremors are getting more and more frequent, so it's probably a bit hard to tell how frequent they are just by hearing the rumbling in the background, because the movie's sort of cut all over the place. But it's just, again, that fret in the back. We know we've only got a certain amount of time here. Unfortunately, it's not sort of spelled out in the movie exactly how long the novel it is, but that volcano is a constant threat. It's a ticking time bomb, and we know before, or in about 5 or 6 minutes, that it's going to go off. We get a shot of Owen looking out his window as the tiny figure of the plane passes a smoking Mount Cebu, making its path over the island. Seemed like a bit of a zigzag, because they've sort of flown over the gates towards Main Street. Then they've gone up to the north to Mount Cebu, and now they're back to near the dock and the landing strip, because the plane finally touches down. Funnily enough, on the same runway it took off from, on that airfield in Oahu, I think. No, the Big Island. Honolulu's the city. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. What's the Big Island? It's Oahu, the Big Island, isn't it?
Hawaii is the Big Island.
Oh, it is Hawaii. All right. We'll leave that behind. As the plane touches down, we can see Wheatley standing on the beside the runway, not looking happy to see them here, and a bit of a boss move too, sort of standing so close to the runway as his plane's coming into land, just a few feet from him, on a dirt runway.
To be fair, he never looks
challenges. Yeah, could have some challenges. I'd imagine the actor would probably be sitting there wondering too how close he is to harm with this plane coming into land right next to him. But as the minute ends, we get the shot of the park plane, the park plane in base camp. Plane stationary, engine off, and men running around camp shouting. All the equipment everywhere. We can also see a very tall fence off in the distance. Sort of definitely resembles the Jurassic World design, not the Jurassic Park design. Whether it's same age as the park, or if it was, as I said earlier, something older, erected when they were trying to round up the original animals and make safe zones and that for the park workers and that, construction teams and what have you. But yeah, that's it for the main minute itself. Heading over to novel comparisons quickly, it's described as after several hours in the air, the plane reached Nublar. We know that's more than a 7-hour trip from up there. Maybe 7 hours from the lower US to Costa Rica or something. They circled the island. They could see the old aviary where the pteranodons once lived. It was now so covered with vines it was barely recognisable. So we visit the aviary there instead of... we get the gates as well. So we get the gates, we get the aviary, we get a couple of locations we recognise from the original Jurassic World. It would have been an interesting shot seeing the aviary so covered in vines it was barely recognisable, just knowing how sort of glaringly bright and reflective and shiny all those glass panels were, polymer or glass or whatever it was on the aviary set, so, or CG model. And again, we do fly over the gates and then land on a small dirt runway, so that's it for novel comparisons. As I said last minute, we're on the island in the novel. We aren't back at Lockwood Manor, so we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, Dave, that's been minute 25. How about we get out of here for the week?
Sounds good.